There's a lot of decisions that you can make. There's just a lot of things that you are responsible for that nobody else is going to do but you. Hey guys, I wanted to do this video because several of you have had diverticulitis or IBS or some kind of issue similar to that, and recently I had a little flare up and handled it and talked about it on one of my vlogs. Several of you came back and said I really would like for you to do a little video on how you handle all that, and so I'm going to do that today. So I try to decide, do I want to be really structured with this, or do I want to just be like having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee with a friend and just talking about it like that? And I think I prefer the latter of that. So I'm just going to tell you that I rewatched my video of 7 things that I'm going to do immediately to heal my gut. I'll post that at the end of the video so you can go back and watch that. It has some pretty good information on it. I rewatched that. I also reread a blog entry that I had done on it, which I really thought was very inclusive of all the different things that I do. And I will post my blog, and then you can search for diverticulitis. So I'll try to put the exact blog title right here so you can look that up if you want. I do want to start the video out by saying I am not a doctor. I'm sharing my journey with you. I do feel that some of the choices that I have made and the things that I have done have helped me and have kept me out of more serious trouble. So I do want to say that if you have pain, if you have really bad pain, you do need to call a doctor. If you have fever along with it, you need to call the doctor. You need to get your colonoscopy. You need to get checked out. Don't omit any of those things. But I do think that we are responsible for our own health and our own care as much as possible. I mean, you're the one putting food in your mouth. You're the one deciding whether to exercise or not, or drink more water or not. There's a lot of decisions that you can make. Which supplements do I take? There's just a lot of things that you are responsible for that nobody else is going to do but you. And so I'm just kind of sharing all that with you. So I did make some notes. I do have some notes on my phone. I also have notes on the board. I'm just going to start talking about kind of things that help me along all the time, that kind of help keep me out of trouble, and it's just me trying to take care of myself. Aside from the obvious of drinking more water and drinking maybe non-sugary drinks. If you drink tea, drink unsweet tea. I mean, I think a lot of that goes without saying. Just keep your sugar content down and drink more water. I love coffee. I love tea. I drink a lot of that. Caffeine can be dehydrating, so you do have to make sure you get some water in there. And we'll talk about foods here in just a minute, but I'm going to jump into supplements here, and I just grabbed the supplements that I take that I really think help me the most. D3, that helps a lot, but I do think that it helps the gut environment, and I think that it helps immune health. It's just really, I think it's a good thing. I can tell when I don't take it. A very significant thing that helps me is the Bragg apple cider vinegar with ashwagandha. It says it reduces stress, promotes relaxation, but I also think that it helps the gut biome. I think when you add vinegars to your gut biome, it's going to help regulate that. Let me just say this, okay? A lot of different types of foods, when you put it into your gut environment, actually can help improve your gut environment. The wider, you've probably heard this, the more fruits and vegetables of all different varieties that you can put in your system, It's just going to help improve your immunity, and it's going to help improve the gut environment, and you'll be able to tolerate more things. Different types of vinegars I really think are good for us. So anytime you're having a salad, or anytime you can make pasta and put vinegar based stuff in it instead of mayonnaise, it will help you a whole lot. And then also, which I'm very bad at taking my own advice with that, but I do try to throw vinegar at my food quite a bit. But I was really excited to find this in pill form. I also take turmeric, curcumin, which I think helps your gut biome quite a bit. So I take one of those at night when I go to bed. And I also take magnesium when I go to bed at night. And I think that is really good for your system as well. Can also help you sleep. And sleep and rest is just really good for you, because we get so stressed, and stress is actually a big trigger for diverticulitis. And I know in my own situations, stress has probably in every single time played a big role in that. And sometimes it is after things calm down. It's like your body, while you're going through stress, it pushes you through, and then the moment you settle down, always Christmas week or Thanksgiving week, big pushes at work, big pushes at home, finally family comes over and we're resting and having fun, and that's when it hits. It's like, oh, now you're going to pay for all this stress that you just had these last few weeks. But I also take aloe vera gels in the morning. It supports your digestive health. Do I really know how well all these are working? All I can say is that things have been better when I started taking these. Maybe not perfect, but it's been much better. And I do really think that they're helping me, so much so that I would not dare do without them. So I also pulled this one aside as well, so I wouldn't forget to mention it. And it's acetaminophen. Now, I can't take ibuprofen, or I'm not supposed to with my blood pressure meds. It's preferred that I take acetaminophen. Probably either or would be okay, but if I feel the slightest of pain coming on, I will take acetaminophen, just because part of the problem with diverticulitis is that you can get enough inflammation. That's the word I'm looking for. You can get enough inflammation in there that it can actually block your stool from passing. When that's starting to happen, this kind of tackles the inflammation to where things can pass and you have a little bit less pain. So, not always. It's not a cure-all. I'm not saying that, but I have noticed that, the slightest pain that I have, I will take some of this. All right, so I got to look at my board up here. Where are we? Disclaimers. We did that. I mentioned you still need to make sure that you see your doctor and get your regularly scheduled colonoscopies. Certainly if you have fever or continued pain that's just not going away. And I can't really stress that enough, because you do not want to have something developing in your colon that is going to create a blockage that is going to push out enough that is going to cause a perforation, and you're really going to have a lot of leakage into your system. Sepsis could happen, or you may have to have part of your colon removed. This is serious stuff, folks. So when I tell you, you should call your doctor or see your doctor. You should. So, but, you begin to learn your body, and I've just come up with a system that has worked well for me, that has kept me from having to go to the doctor. And I might have pain one day, and then I'm able to make it completely go away, not get to the point where it's becoming infected or having a fever, So this is what I'm talking about. We're mainly talking about focusing on your gut biome, making it better because you may have trigger foods. A lot of people do have trigger foods and they know what their trigger foods are and they can just not eat it and be fine most of the time. I did create a chart in which I wrote down everything I ate for several weeks, and I was looking for a trend because I was having pain quite a bit and I wasn't really sure what was doing it. I never really found out what my trigger foods were, but I did find out some suspicious trigger foods. And for me, it came down to beef, tomatoes, certain types of lettuce, sausages like kielbasa or hot dogs, pizza, the Western diet, okay? The Western diet. All the things we love. It was very hard to narrow it down. I can tell you that when I ate chicken and fish and fresh veggies and fresh vegetables, I had less problems. There has been a lot of research out there that people who are in the Mediterranean areas and coastal areas, people that are eating more fish, people who are in areas where they're more active, those people have less diverticulitis, they have less health problems overall, and it's because they're eating better foods and they are taking care of their gardens. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. All right, so I have little Maddie girl in my lap. So, in an effort to try and keep her quiet so I can get through this video. So basically, just in looking at my chart or my list over here on the board, I would encourage you to do a search on Netflix and YouTube on improving the gut biome. I don't remember the names of the exact shows that were on Netflix, but they were very powerful to me. Okay, I was able to do a search on Netflix and find the two shows that most impressed me. The one on the left, called Hack Your Health, The Secrets of Your Gut, actually had several different individuals who increased the eating of vegetables in their diet, fruits and vegetables, and they actually improved their gut biome pretty quickly. I was very impressed with that. And the other one, Live to 100, The Secrets of the Blue Zones, was also very impressive because it went to different places in society where people live to 100, and basically what they did and what they ate made the biggest difference. So I think you need to give these two things a watch and see what you think. Let me know what you thought. So I really learned a lot from watching those videos, and they inspired me. And I know I appreciate you watching mine, but don't just watch mine. I actually went through a period of time where I required myself to watch at least one video a day. YouTube has some shorter ones, and you can work in maybe a 20 or 30 minute. Somebody's always barking or making noise around here. You can work that into your day a little bit, and I did that for about 2 weeks, just watching videos, a required video for me, one day a week for 2 weeks, and I learned so much. And I'm not perfect at this. I'm overweight. I still have moments where I do not eat right, but I am having moments of where I am eating good enough things for my body that I can tolerate it when I don't eat bad most of the time. So I did want to make that clear. I did kind of want to talk about some foods that I really like to eat. I end up eating a lot of oatmeal because I think that's really good for you. I probably eat less now that I'm retired than I did at work, because at work it was really easy. We had a hot water spigot and I would just pour the packet in. I would add honey for my sugar. I use honey a lot. It's natural, and I use that as my sweeteners in a lot of stuff. I've been known to put honey in spaghetti, in my spaghetti sauce. You're definitely going to want to stick to your whole foods as much as you can. And I saw a video one time that said, look, if you are still going to eat your Western diet, at least throw nutrition in there with it. If you're fixing something, put some spinach in it. Put some green peas in it. You know, it's like you fix a pasta salad, throw some peas in it. Make sure to get your fruits in there. Yogurt. I do really think that yogurt helps me. And I have yogurt at least twice a week. Once I have it with kind of granola and fruit on top. And then another time I will fix it in a smoothie. And I always do the Greek yogurt. I usually do the Too Good yogurt. It actually has 2 grams of sugar. That seems to work really well for me, but I really think that helps the gut biome. There are like videos out there that will tell you here are the 7 foods or the 10 foods that you can eat that will just almost immediately help your gut biome. Find that video, watch that video. But I don't know, things like vinegar and yogurt are just really good. We need to have more greens in our diet. I can tell you that. So, like any time that you can throw spinach into anything, anytime you can get your greens in. I really like for us to have greens in every meal if we can. Sometimes we don't for breakfast. I usually have salads once or twice a week, and I know a lot of people can't do lettuce, and let's just talk about that for a minute. I have been able to do the softer lettuces. I've even been able to do cabbage, okay? You know, with kind of a vinegar-based dressing. Now, a lot of you, that is your trigger, and you know it is. And if it is your trigger, then you shouldn't do it. But it might be that later on, if your gut biome is able to improve, it may not be able to, but you may be able to increase your gut biome and then be able to tolerate it at some point. And that's up to you whether you want to decide to try that or not. But there is one kind of lettuce for me that I do not tolerate very well. Maybe 2. One looks more like long pieces of broccoli or something. It looks like little trees. And it usually comes in a spring mix, which I normally love spring mixes. But those little pieces of lettuce are just really hard to digest for some reason. And those, when I see like we went to Ruby Tuesdays yesterday and it was a salad bar. And there were different types of lettuces. And I'm sad to say, Ruby Tuesday, you didn't have the spinach as an option. And I noticed that. That's what I would have gotten had you had it. I would have at least thrown it in with the iceberg. But let me tell you, I saw that kind on there and I just let it go. I did not get that. Kale has been a suspect food for me. I have since been able to have some salad kits with a little bit of kale in it that didn't bother me. Yeah, I can eat salads, but not all of you can. I know that we need to try and eat less oils and less gums, and you know, there's just a lot of stuff out there that's not good for you. The less sugary, and you know, a sugar environment in your gut can really cause some problems in your gut biome. Now, I do eat sugar, but I'm pre-diabetic, so I have to really watch sugar anyway. And I still do eat sugar, but I limit it. Like, I have reduced my sugar intake so much from what it was. It is rare for me to have a full-on Coke or anything like that. I try to have non-caloric drinks. I do like my Starbucks. I get a cold brew. I try to find a drink that has the least amount of sugar in it. I try to not have beef more than once or twice a week. There's been a lot of times where, you know, we've had steak or pizza, and steak really does take a long time. Steak and beef take a long time for your system to digest. So it can be hard on your system. It's easier for chicken and fish. I think that can be a problem. I think that if we overeat and then we've eaten things like steak and beef, that it can overwhelm your tummy, and you just have too many things that are trying to digest and push through at once, and it can cause a problem in those diverticuli areas, and things can get stuck in those pockets, so you really don't want to overwhelm your digestive system, and do things like not eat until you're hungry. Try not to overeat. And I know anytime I go back for seconds, I'm telling myself, you don't want to overdo it, because if you overwhelm your gut, what can happen? So I do also think that exercise helps, because when you exercise, it just helps regulate your body more. There's so many things that regulate better when you exercise. And I don't exercise enough, but I'm working on that. I just plugged my exercise plan into my iPhone reminder, so that every day when it pops up, I know what area I'm working on, and I'm still doing the cardio every day. Sometimes on Sunday, or if we're going somewhere, it's a little hard to work in an exercise for that day, but I'm really trying. I have definitely improved over the past, so I'm anticipating that weight will go down at some point. What do you do if you have a flare-up? So a lot of you wanted to know, how I handled that if I had a flare-up. So basically, if you've had pain and you're like, okay, let's give it a day or so and see what's going to happen. If you have severe pain, you should probably just call your doc. If you're not able to pass anything, you should call your doc. Again, acetaminophen helps tremendously, and water. Switch to liquids immediately when you have pain. You need to give your digestive system a break for, 24 to 48 hours. Your system will let you know if you're ready to eat again, I think. I usually kind of go to water, bone broth, Gatorade. This past time, I did have some miso soup, because number one, that's one of the major foods that can help your gut biome. Now, the doctors will tell you to try to stay away from anything that has pulp in it, and miso soup is probably going to have a little bit of some things in there. But I did miso soup this last flare up, and number one, the flavor is so much better. Number two, it's so much better for the gut biome, and I wasn't in dire straits where nothing was passing. That's when you're really trying to not put any pulp, or sometimes you just strictly need to go with liquids. If nothing is passing, you need to make sure you just have only liquid going in, no little pieces of anything. If I'm just having a little flare up, I'll switch to water and hot tea. I kind of switch it up between cold and hot. I think for some reason that's really good for your gut, just like it is when you have a sprain or something. Sometimes they tell you cold and hot, and I think it helps with the movement in your gut a little bit. Again, I'm not a doctor. This is just what I do. And I try to pick things that are going to make me not feel famished. So like when I had that miso soup, it tasted so much better than bone broth. But if you're doing the bone broth, that's fine. It is going to give you a little bit of protein. The Gatorade helps a little bit. Of course, that does have sugar in it. When you're going through this kind of a thing, sometimes you just may have to have a little bit of Gatorade to keep your stamina up, especially if you're working. Green tea has been good. Again, take that acetaminophen and do a little bit of light exercising. Nothing intense. So when the pain starts to subside and you kind of feel like, okay, I think I might be getting out of the woods, you can start adding in those soft foods. Now what I usually do is eggs, spoonfuls of peanut butter, oatmeal. I can go back to whole grains. Well, once you feel like you're starting to get out of the woods, you can go back to whole grains. Whole grains take a longer time to digest, so you might want to do white bread while you are coming out of this situation. I can remember the doctor telling me, you need to eliminate all white foods, because of my pre-diabetic thing. And then like the next week I had diverticulitis, and he's like, well, you need to eat your white foods like bread and rice while you're going through this. And I'm like, but you just told me last week not to. Okay, yeah, so when the pain subsides, then you can start going back to your oatmeal and, your whole grains. I've been known to do those little cups of macaroni and cheese and little cups of mashed potatoes. I try to keep those things on hand, like bone broth, Gatorade, little mashed potato cups, little rice cups, little cups of macaroni and cheese. I keep all of those things on hand for when I do have a flare, because those are the first foods that I can dive back into. They're really soft, and if for some reason you're not ready, it hasn't done too much damage to your system. So those are good things to have on hand for when you're going through a flare-up and coming out of the back side of it. Cooked carrots and pasta is also good. I've had that. George usually will fix salmon for my first real meal coming out of the backside of it, because, fish it's just been easy for me to eat, and my body is just always ready for it. The spoonfuls of peanut butter really would get me through a slump. I mean, I've been known to do that even when I'm doing liquids, whether I'm supposed to or not, because, it just... it gave me some stamina, I guess, and it wasn't so solid that it was gonna hurt anything, I don't think, but take that with a grain of salt. Fiber, always put fiber in your diet. I just think, all these things, all the things I'm telling you is just trying to create a better gut biome. I don't know that any one thing is gonna be the savior of it all. But there is that. You can bring it upon the Savior, because I have prayed this thing away as well. So he's part of the process. But I don't know that any one of these things is going to be your hero. I just think it all works together. I think that when we have flare-ups, it is the perfect storm of the gut biome not going well. And when we start implementing all of these things, we have the perfect storm of things going well. And I think in some of those shows, if you watch it, where they've improved people's gut biome, they have actually been able to tolerate some of the Western diet foods from time to time, just because their gut biome was much healthier. And I'm not saying to eat better so that you can eat bad, but it's just like we all know, if you're living here in America, you just know it's very hard, because we have all of these temptations out there. And George and I, we love pizza. We love all the things, and we like to go and eat all the things. I like the biscuits that Cracker Barrel has, and it's like, that's one of the hardest things for me, is eating the breads when you go out into a restaurant. It's like, somebody said once, the way you can combat that is just to have 2 bites. I'm not really a 2-bite person. Maybe it's better than not having any, but then I want the rest of it. I struggle with that. So this is me telling you I'm not perfect at this, but I am better at this, and I think it gets better all the time. But yeah, increase the fiber. And also, I do want to say that sometimes you can be misdiagnosed. So keep that in mind. Doctors are not perfect either. For a long time, I had some gut issues. I had pain in my gut. I thought it was diverticulitis. It ended up being appendicitis. Had my appendix out. People at work were telling me, I think you got appendicitis. And I'm like, I really don't. I think it's just diverticulitis or IBS. Well, I had pain so intense. I told George, I said, no, I can't sleep. I know it's time for us to go to bed. We got to go. I mean, I just knew I was not able to tolerate it. I was going back and forth, holding myself, and it's like, no, we got to go. So try to listen to your body, and even the doctors can be wrong sometimes. So I really thought when I had my appendicitis, though, I thought, oh, well, this has probably been what's been bugging me all along. Okay, George is doing work right outside my window here, but you know what? When I determine to video something, I go with the flow because life is going to be happening around me. But I did want to let you guys know that there are some things that I blogged about, and I took a picture of it on my phone. Some of the ways that I've found that keeps me from having diverticulitis, and drinking lots of water, keeping the flow going to prevent constipation. A daily probiotic, switching up the kind of daily probiotic every time you every time you run out, order a different kind. Just search what is the best kind for your situation. If you have IBS or diverticulitis, sometimes there's probiotics, there's certain ones that you need to take for that particular situation. Eating less red meat. Some people have a problem with spicy foods, and I really thought that might be my case, but it was maybe not so much. I kind of suspected tomatoes, and there may be a certain kind of tomatoes that we were buying that were doing that to me. Yeah, some people have triggers, but I've since been able to eat spicy foods and it hasn't bothered me. But you can try eating, well, I can't eat hot chicken. I have problems every time that I try to eat hot chicken. So I don't know what it is about Nashville hot chicken, but that's just not, I can't do that one. Eating the softer lettuces, severely decreasing your bread consumption and processed food, choosing whole grains, possibly sourdough. Sometimes that can be good for you. And I have found fresher breads are better than those with like the preservatives in it. Eat more fish and chicken, eat less fried, the oils, fried food. I didn't mention that before, but that can be a trigger for me. And I think that's part of the hot chicken thing. Those oils that are in fried food, it's just not good. It is not good for our systems. I feel instant issues with inflammation in my body when I have things like fried chicken. I'm kind of getting to the point where I just don't want much fried food anymore. So I'm definitely getting better at that. And we recently had fried chicken, and I'm like, why do I keep doing this? I know what it's going to do to my body. It makes me feel horrible the next day. The rest of the day and the next day. Don't do it. Tell me that again when I go to eat fried chicken. Oh my goodness. Increase your vinegary foods, things like pickles, your salad dressings, slaw with vinegar, that kind of thing. Eat a lot of fiber foods like bananas, apples, beans, but not when you're going through a flare-up. Increase your greens daily. Increase fresh fruit, not juices, but fruit. Juices have a lot of sugar in it. However, sometimes I do let myself have a little bit of juice, especially if we don't have any fruit on hand. Less alcohol, as it's very drying to your system, as is caffeine. However, that said, sometimes coffee can help your movements in the mornings. So, if you're a coffee person, but drinking coffee all day long is just not where it's at. And I know for a fact that drinking iced tea all day long, more than like 8 ounces or so, can definitely be a very drying problem to your colon. Blood pressure meds with water pills in it, like mine, is very drying. So I have found that it's better for me. This is an important one. I have found that it is important to take your blood pressure med earlier in the day because you're awake and you can replenish with water, which I know sounds crazy. You're getting rid of water, but you're taking on water. You're trying to keep it off your heart. If you're taking it at night when you go to bed, you don't have an opportunity to drink more water unless you wake up in the middle of the night and do it. One thing that I like to do is have protein shakes, but protein shakes made with yogurt. Lower your stress levels, and I think I pretty much mentioned all those things. Let's see. One of the key things to diverticulitis is sometimes you can just become constipated before the pain even starts. So you kind of know just immediately, pack those liquids in. Don't eat until you're really hungry again. Eat soft foods only, cooked veggies, soups, fiber foods, things that will help you go. Coffee and herbal teas can help, but not overdo the coffee or the caffeine. Don't eat steak, pizza, bread, hot dogs, sandwich meat. No, none of that. I also have had a special drink that has helped me a lot with the gut biome immediately, and that is something called Hawaiian ginger. It comes in a blue label. It's just a drink. It's like a kombucha. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It tastes like a Moscow Mule. It's got a lot of ginger in it, and ginger can be really good for your gut as well. Avoid foods that are, when you think you're about to go through a diverticulitis attack or you're really, really constipated. Things like raw veggies you might want to back off of in case it is going to be a diverticulitis attack, and just have soft veggies like, soft carrots. But things like celery and carrots in there and broccoli in their raw form can really hurt you if you're having a diverticulitis attack. So if you think you are and, constipated or whatever, then, this is like before you have any pain and you're just trying to get the flow going again. I don't really think I gave the part about eating the right foods enough focus or clarity, but I think that's easy enough for you to do. I think you try to eat more whole grains and real food and less processed food. So I do want to make that clear. And I'm not perfect at it, but I am better at it. And whatever you're eating, try to throw in as many greens and vegetables. And if you can tolerate nuts, do that. I have given up popcorn. I didn't tell you that. I know that that's an issue. I gave up popcorn. I love popcorn. I could probably be okay with popcorn, but every time I've had diverticulitis, I would have had popcorn. But that's because I love popcorn and I always eat popcorn. So I'm just a little scared to put it back into my diet. I have a doctor that says do not eat popcorn. So we might as well make a comical end to this video. So you know how if you watch my other vlogs, which is definitely every Saturday at 7, you know that George will show up in my videos always. You can either see him or hear him, but he's always there. Sometimes he'll show up in the flesh. Well, today, on this more serious video that we've done, he's mowing outside my window. I don't think he would do that to me on purpose. Or would he? I don't know. But if you guys think that you might want to come back and watch just a regular vlog, I do vlogs every Saturday at 7 a.m. Sometimes I will do Wednesday vlogs or videos on whatever the subject is, as is this one. When I have a separate little video I want to do, I really like to put those on Wednesdays and save the vlog type for Saturday at 7. So if you think you would like to come back and watch me and George and Maddie and Dexter, then we would love to have you. I don't know where Maddie went. She's in there somewhere. You all have a great week, and I hope that you will let me know about your gut healing situation. Are you having problems? I'm curious what your trigger foods are. What are the foods that really help you in your healing of your gut biome? I'd love to hear your experience, because one of the things that I want my channel to do is to help each other. Most of us are getting older here, those that are subscribed here, and we're dealing with a lot of stuff at this point in our life, and there's actually some younger ones that are going through this too. Starting to happen as early as 30s, I've been hearing. For me, I think it was 40s. Give me a like if you like this video. I truly hope that it has helped you in some way. Please let me know if it has. And don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to come back and see our regular scheduled vlogs that we do every Saturday at 7. I also do have a healing series if you want to look at the channel for that. It's a playlist on healing, just things that I've been going through health-wise. Feel free to watch that if you want. I hope you guys have a great week. I'm going to let you go now. Thanks. Bye now.